Next on Broadway Profiles, Jerry O'Connell returns to Broadway in a soldier's play. We're sitting down to talk about his role, his life off stage, and more. Plus, we're getting excited for the premiere of Girl from the North Country, a sneak peek at the new musical set to the iconic songs of Bob Dylan. And it's a revival of West Side Story. You'll meet one of the rising stars of this intense new production. All that and so much more on this edition of Broadway Profiles. Welcome to Broadway Profiles. I'm your host, Tamsen Fadal. As we overlook Times Square, we have a lot to talk about. We're kicking things off with a soldier's play. Sea-line woman, sea-line, resting there, sea-line. Nearly 40 years after its off-Broadway debut, the Pulitzer Prize-winning show just celebrated opening night on Broadway to standing ovations and some very strong reviews. It's a racially charged murder mystery set on a segregated Louisiana Army base during World War II. And it stars some huge names, including Blair Underwood and David Alan Grier. Plus, it marks the Broadway return of our friend Jerry O'Connell. I caught up with Jerry to talk about the play, his life, and so much more.
I know I'm back on Broadway when I see you, Tamsen.
It is when I get to, as long as you're on Broadway, I'm here right next to you.
It's so funny when you come back to Broadway,
Yes.
A lot of people say, welcome home.
Oh yeah? Do you feel like it's home?
I would like to think it feels like home. It's still a lot of work. It's really,
I know.
It's scary. You know, I mean, I'm primarily a basic cable television actor.
I've never heard somebody describe themselves like that, but I like it.
To not only do a play, but to do Broadway,
Yeah.
I still get nervous every night.
Do you really?
Yeah, I get nervous every night.
I think about that. I think, like, do you get nervous, or is it just kind of roll off your tongue and you're just kind of, you know?
Well, I get nervous for a couple of reasons, because I'm in a soldier's play, and the play opens with a really cool musical number, and then it opens with me basically berating 10 men in a platoon for 10 minutes.
Yes.
And so I have 10 minutes of dialogue where I'm yelling at men as a captain, and 600 hours.
It was not the Jerry I know.
Right.
These whites down here, they won't see their duty or justice, they'll just see you. And once they do, law, due process, it all goes, what is the point of continuing an investigation that can't possibly get at the truth?
So Soldier's Play takes place in 1944, and it's about race relations in the U.S. Army in 44. I have a lot of scenes with Blair Underwood, who plays a captain, and I'm also playing a captain. And I say in the play, this is the first time I've met an African-American who is of equal rank to me, and you're shocking.
And the audience is equally shocked. When that line is delivered.
Well, you hear gasps.
Yeah.
And I have to say, for me, I would never speak or act that way around anyone.
Take off those sunglasses.
I intend to carry out my orders, and I like these glasses. They're like MacArthur's.
Afterwards, when you meet people,
Right.
you know, we always sign the playbills afterwards right outside the stage door. I do find myself apologizing for my character.
Do you really?
I do.
No,
say,
I
"Listen,
get
that's not
it."
me.
I was wondering about this afterwards, when you're out, you know, after you're done. Do you guys have a time to kind of reconnect as people because of the subject that is going on that
I
stage?
will say this, when I'm on Broadway, David Alan Grier and I love going to Bar Centrale. For those who don't know, that's the hidden bar on Broadway. When David Alan Grier and I went there after the show, I called my wife, but my wife was like, I don't know where it is, I'm outside. And I was like, it's the door, just go up the stairs. And it's hidden. And so my wife came in and we were so excited to get in there. You know what's so funny is I have two daughters who are 11. They've shown interest in drama. You know,
Right.
they're in.
Do they think you're cool?
I don't think they think I'm cool, but the one time they do think I'm cool is when they come see me on Broadway. My wife, who was sitting with them, said it's crazy to watch how excited they get, because the rest of the time they're like, Dad, shut up. I don't like listening to your music.
You guys are just like, you're just a normal family, and I love that. The people that pop through, that come through, are the people that are real, and you're real.
I am pretty real. I did take the subway here.
I know you do. You take the subway all the time. Do people come up to you all the time, or they?
No, no one knows who I am. No, occasionally someone will come up to me and go, are you Jason Bateman? And I'll say yes.
West Side Story is reborn on Broadway. It's still the Sharks versus the Jets, but this is hardly 1957. Spoiler Spoiler alert, no more snapping, but there is some serious choreography. And this new staging is set in present day. West Side Story also features around 24 young actors making their Broadway debuts. And we got to know one of those rising stars. We're talking about Shireen Pimentel. She's tonight's fresh face.
I was born in Manhattan and my family put me in dance classes. That's all I did. From when I was 3 years old, I started dancing. And then when I was 8, I found out I could sing. I saw The Lion King when I was young and told my mom I wanted to play the character on stage. And I found an open call at the Apollo Theater. And I missed my dance class for the first time ever, and I got a call back, and a year later I got the show. After The Lion King, I just studied. I was in school and then went to Juilliard for college, and now I'm in my senior year at Juilliard while doing West Side Story. A part of the conversation for creating this Maria for the modern time of West Side Story is the idea that even though she's 16 years old and she just moved to America a month ago and just falls in love, that she's a person and that she has agency over herself and her decisions. I definitely feel a responsibility to bring light to Puerto Rico. It's such a large part of my life in being Puerto Rican and Jamaican and being able to show that Afro-Latina side, especially on a Broadway stage. I really think that it's an important story to keep telling.
And we're just months away from Steven Spielberg's film remake of West Side Story. The original 1961 film adaptation of the musical won 10 Academy Awards.
Best Supporting Actress, Rita Moreno.
I can't believe it!
The new film was shot on location in New York this past summer. And after production wrapped, Steven Spielberg shared a few photos from behind the scenes, including a snapshot with Oscar winner Rita Moreno. West Side Story is scheduled to be released this December. We are so excited about this next one. Girl from the North Country is a new musical featuring the songs of Bob Dylan. We got a sneak peek from the cast at the bitter end, one of the historic Greenwich Village clubs where Bob Dylan got his start in the 1950s and 1960s.
Getting to like internalize Bob Dylan's music. I mean, his music is already so emotional and deep and poetic, but getting to come at it from like a dramatic perspective and, you know, really make it part of a character and like live it, it's incredible.
You know, from day one, I remember reading the script and just like falling in love with it. I think that Broadway deserves something like this because it's super special, and I'm happy we get to share it.
I saw you in the wilderness among the men. I saw you drift into infinity and come back again.
The spiritual aspect of the show that we feel as cast members every day in rehearsal, and that the audience feels as well. There's something very special about this show, something very different, and I know that the audiences are going to come and they're going to feel that same exact thing.
We also had the chance to spend a little more time with one of the other stars of North Country, Luba Mason. She plays Mrs. Burke.
Here comes the story of the hurricane. The man the authorities came to blame.
She is a very wealthy, or she was a very wealthy Southern woman. And her husband, Mr. Burke, has lost all of their money in the Depression. So the family is struggling, like everyone else in the Depression. Yet we have a secret that we're carrying with us.
What's a sweetheart like you doing in a dump like this?
I do sing Sweetheart Like You, and I play on the drums while I sing. Now, I have to say, it's not easy. I learned how to play the drums for this show, specifically for this show. So it's very, very different. His music is very unique because of its longevity. His music is timeless.
The wait is nothing and the work is hard. It's a graveyard in Hadestown.
Big congrats to the cast and creative team from Hadestown. They just took home the Grammy for Best Musical Theater Album. It's just the latest big prize for the show that won the 2019 Tony Award for Best Musical. Fans of the royal family, get ready. Before there was William and Kate, before there was Harry and Meghan, there was Charles and Di. Coming up, we've got your inside scoop on the new musical, Diana. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and you're watching Broadway Profiles.
Where's all my soul sisters? Let me hear your flow, sisters. Hey, sister, flow, sister, soul, sister, flow, sister.
Months into its run, Moulin Rouge is still bringing audiences to its feet and still breaking the box office. We checked in with the man who plays one of the show's great and hilarious bohemian artists, Saw Nagalja.
The journey in developing the trek is one that I'm still on. I mean, he's a really fascinating, dynamic person. In a way, he reminds me of like the poster child of what club culture would be in the coming century. You know, like he's got that thing going. You know, he was giving people like, you know, drink a shot. And they're like, what do you mean drink a shot? You know, we don't drink to drink. No, shoot it immediately. Even these kind of little things about him, I find so fascinating. And so it's an interesting journey bringing him to the stage every day.
The Moulin Rouge is a state of mind.
For people who enjoyed or loved the movie, yeah, you'll definitely get like a plate full of everything that you're expecting to eat. But there are a lot of songs in this show that weren't in the film. 71 tunes in this show. I guess one of my favorites would be what we call Roxanne Crazy Rolling in the Deep. You know, it's like 3 songs that kind of like go, you know, one right into the other. And yeah, every night I hear it, it still like gives me a little goosebumps, you know.
Royalty is arriving on Broadway this spring. We're talking about the upcoming Broadway biomusical, Diana. Broadway.com's editor-in-chief is here with a first look. Hi, Paul.
As the royals continue to fascinate people around the world, the touching real-life story of Princess Diana of Wales arrives on Broadway. We're here at the Lotte New York Palace Hotel to meet the stars of the new musical, Diana. You're playing Princess Diana, literally one of the most loved women, I think, in the history of the world, so no pressure, right?
No pressure at all, no pressure, especially being British too.
So many amazing women have played Queen Elizabeth II. Now we can add 2-time Tony winner Judy Kaye to the list. How does that feel?
The Queen sings. It feels so wonderful, so scary. I hope I can do her justice.
What was your in to finding this woman?
I was obviously spoilt by the amount of YouTube videos. How does she move? How does she hold herself? Which has truly been an ongoing process with lots of work to stand up straight, which is quite hard to do when you have terrible 20/20 posture.
The story of Princess Diana, I was shocked that no one had done it yet because it seemed so theatrical. And then we sort of just started dipping our toes in very slowly at first, saying, can we write songs for royalty? And we wrote a little bit of it and played it for some people, and they were like, oh my God, this is really good, you should keep going. So I think
it's so much better than, wow, that's not good, stop.
Yeah, that was like put it in the drawer. So, and here we are.
I think there will be surprises for even the people who think they know the story. For people who don't know, she's worth it. I think she's an amazing person to tell a story about.
She was up against these huge odds, and rather than crumbling and dying, she buckled down, found her little nugget of light, and clung to it, and that has seen her all the way through to becoming, you know, Diana, Princess of Wales that we know today.
You don't realize how bold she really was and brave she was. She had to have a sit down with the Queen and ask if she could exit her marriage and then forge a life outside of the palace. To have that much courage and leave all of that behind is something we need to remember.
She was even more remarkable, I think, than we came to understand. I think we honor her very, very much in this story.
Sometimes though it's best to be underestimated.
And there is still so much more to talk about on this edition of Broadway Profiles. It's the tearjerker of the night. We've got an exclusive musical performance from one of the moms from Dear Evan Hansen, Jessica Phillips. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and you're watching Broadway Profiles.
Let it go, and I'll rise like the break of dawn.
This has definitely been the winter of Frozen. In movie theaters, it is smashing records. Frozen 2 is the #1 animated film of all time. And on Broadway, Frozen the Musical is also melting a lot of hearts.
One of the great parts about being in a Disney show is, first of all, you have these iconic films, and I always marvel at the imaginations that have to take them from the screen and put them on stage. We're using the movie as a jumping off point, right? And then from there, we're creating our own piece of art. The sets and costumes are designed by Christopher Oram. His attention to detail is amazing. So I play the Duke of Wesselton, and I have a weasel on my, because everybody calls me Weasel Town, right, which offends me. But I have a weasel that was carved out of wood and cast in bronze and is on my medallion here and on all my epaulets. And the audience, if you're past 5 rows, you can't see that, but I see it and I feel it, and the people in the front see it. The hidden things that are in the set. If you come to the show, there are hidden Mickeys around in certain places that look like gorgeous design, but in reality, they're a Disney nod, you know? I think one of the great things Disney has done for Broadway is they introduce people to theater for the first time because they're so familiar with the film and they see the title and they want to come, and all of a sudden they're opened up to this world of Broadway.
Wax on, wax off in a whole new way. The Karate Kid is coming to Broadway. Let's send it back to Broadway.com's editor-in-chief with more on that story. Hi, Paul.
Yes, Tamsen, it's true. The Karate Kid's bullied teen, Daniel LaRusso, will soon be singing alongside Mr. Miyagi on the Broadway stage. Robert Mark Kamen, the 80s film's screenwriter, is working on an adaptation with New York City songwriter Drew Gasparini and acclaimed Japanese director Amon Miyamoto. Since its debut in 1984, the popular film franchise has featured Ralph Macchio, Hilary Swank, and Jaden Smith in the title role. No word yet on who will be the next Karate Kid, but when we know, you'll know. The next well-loved title started life as a book, then became a movie, then a stage musical, and is now heading back to the big screen as a movie musical. We're talking about Mean Girls, the hit Broadway show written by the great Tina Fey, her husband Jeff Richmond, and Broadway fave Nell Benjamin. To the delight of fans, Paramount Pictures has announced plans to bring the hilarious musical to movie theaters. I'm very excited to bring Mean Girls back to the big screen, Fey said. I've spent 16 years with these characters now. They are my Marvel Universe, and I love them dearly. You're not the only one. Finally, a landmark LGBTQ play will land on Broadway later this year with some powerful Hollywood names attached. Last Summer at Bluefish Cove is set in a lesbian beachside haven where the lives of a group of friends are upended by the arrival of a straight woman named Eva. Jane Chambers' play premiered 40 years ago off-Broadway and will now be seen on Broadway under the direction of Sex and the City favorite and two-time Tony Award winner Cynthia Nixon, who promises an all-female creative team and cast. Speaking of powerful women, Ellen DeGeneres, Lily Tomlin, and Portia de Rossi are among the show's producers. Clearly, Bluefish Cove offers a fantastic view of the stars. That's it for me. Get all the hottest theater news every day on Broadway.com.
Break out the tissues for our next musical performance. Jessica Phillips plays Evan's mom in the Tony Award-winning musical Dear Evan Hansen.
And I knew there would be moments that I'd miss, and I knew there would be space I couldn't fill, and I knew I'd come up short a million different ways, and I did.
Jessica stopped by the studio to perform her tear-jerking rendition of So Big, So Small.
When it all feels so big, till it all feels so small. When it all feels so big, till it all feels so small.
For 40 years, it has been the roast of Broadway and the toast of off-Broadway. And now for New York City audiences, Forbidden Broadway is back for the next generation.
Here's the next generation. We said what we had to say.
Forbidden Broadway, it's sort of like the Saturday Night Live of Broadway. Parodies of current running Broadway shows, and then also spoofs of classic shows or Broadway bits or Broadway performers that you know and love.
The name on everybody's lips is gonna be Verdon.
Well, we do Fosse Verdon, the TV show, Mary Poppins Returns, Harry Potter, and they do a Lin-Manuel Billy Porter mashup. We do Judy Garland the movie.
Why do you torture me with films you claim are high art?
I play 13 characters total. I think it's just a natural ear that I have. For me, what I like to do is watch their mouths move, even if I don't have audio. And if I can create the shape of their mouth, sometimes the voice comes out. And then the other thing I like to do is watch drag queen performances and maybe watch, 3 to 6 performances and see what are the top 3 things that keep sticking out, and then take that heightened performance and put it into a place of reality.
And that's going to do it for us tonight. Until next time, I'm Tamsen Fadal, and you're watching Broadway Profiles.